freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom over me.
And you're seeing a remarkable demonstration of protest with enormous popular support. 2/3 of the population supports it, far beyond what supported Martin Luther King at the peak of his popularity. This could be a major step forward. It's infuriating the far right and their spokesman, President Trump, who's trying to blame it on radical leftists, terrorists, and so on. No, these are peaceful, nonviolent demonstrations.
Barely 100 days before the presidential election in November, this week, President Trump announced he's sending a surge of federal officers into large Democrat-run cities like Chicago. This comes after Trump first sent federal agents to Portland, Oregon, where the camouflage-clad paramilitary agents attacked anti-racist protesters, even snatched activists off the streets in unmarked vans. On Wednesday night, when federal forces fired tear gas at protesters in Portland once again, among those hit was Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler, who also serves as Portland's police commissioner. The response to Trump's outrageous and likely unconstitutional deployment of federal agents has been resoundingly critical. Oregon Governor Kate Brown denounced the, quote, secret police abducting people. And the Oregon Attorney General has now sued several of the federal agencies involved. In the streets, a contingent of women has grown nightly, protecting protesters by forming a wall of moms. Oregon Senator Ron Wyden described the federal agents as essentially fascist and warned, quote, if the line is not drawn in the sand right now, America may be staring down the barrel of martial law in the middle of a presidential election. I began by asking Professor Chomsky to respond to the surge of federal agents Trump is promising to unleash on the country.
President Trump is desperate. His entire attention there's one issue on his mind, that's the election. He's has to cover up for the fact that he's personally responsible for killing tens of thousands of Americans. Chances of victory depend on his doing something dramatic. He was trying very hard to set up military confrontations. You mentioned martial law.
Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom over me. And before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom, freedom. Oh, freedom.
It's moving towards martial law. He might even be able to try to cancel the elections. There's no telling what he would do. We may even get to a point where the military command has to decide which side they're on. The man is desperate. He's psychotic. He is in extreme danger of losing his position in the White House. He'll do anything he can to prevent it. There's a whole swamp around him. He's tried to keep it from being investigated. He fired all the inspectors general when they were beginning to investigate it. Last weekend, he fired the major prosecutor in the United States, state of New York, who's investigating his crimes. Fired him. This has never happened before. One Republican, Lisa Murkowski, dared to express a word of discomfort with the dear leader, he reacted like a ton of bricks. Said, I'm going to destroy you. I'm going to eliminate you. Everyone has to follow me passionately, loyally, and obediently. We have to vote against the most dangerous criminal in human history, who, if he has 4 more years, might not only destroy American democracy, but bring the world past tipping points on heating the global warming, which will be irreversible. He might bring about nuclear war. He's greatly escalating the threats. The policies he's pursuing are aimed at destroying the possibility of organized human life on Earth. He's a narcissistic megalomaniac, has one simple doctrine: himself will do almost anything to maintain power and control. We're dealing with a figure who's out of the political spectrum for functioning democracies. And he has a political party behind him, which by now has just turned into cowardly sycophants. They're terrified to cross his imperial majesty. He's got a popular base of heavily armed, angry white supremacist militias. There's no telling what he would do. I think the country is, by November, maybe a different country.
That's beautiful. That is so beautiful. Heavy, heavy,